Hey guys, it's Stephen here. The day after Manchester City's very disappointing 2-0 defeat to Spurs. It was really painful and very difficult to watch. And today I'm going to try and talk through 5 things that I personally took from this game. And what I say in general as a precursor to this video, even though some of these topics seem pretty negative, probably understandably given everything at the moment, I want to say largely that I do think Manchester City are inevitable. Like, I genuinely feel like we're kind of Thanos that way, that we will be there, near the top, though he was beaten in the end. So maybe ignore that one. That's a plot spoiler for you there. But I feel like largely we will be there. We will be back at the top of the table at some point. Maybe not this season, but we will eventually get there. And even though it may be painful, and even though we may have wasted some money on some transfers, arguably, we will eventually get it right. So as frustrating as it is at the moment, I do think it's worth remembering that maybe it's just going to be a bad couple of years potentially. It could be better. It could change. Things do change in football quickly, but maybe we just have to accept that this year or so is going to be not that good, and maybe eventually we will get back to where we're going to be. We will do. We're too good not to. We've got too much money, too much good players, We're there at the top. We're in the big teams now. So what I'm saying largely is a little bit of perspective. It's frustrating, but if I'm being honest, every team has a bad few years every now and then. Chelsea have had it, United have had it, Liverpool had it for an awful long time. And at the moment, it looks like this could be our time. Having said that, football is fickle and things can change. What I'm asking is, though people can be frustrated, let's remember that not everything needs to be thrown out and ripped up and started again. Not everyone in our team is a fraud. Guardiola certainly isn't a fraud. There may be mistakes made from a lot of people at the moment, but it's worth remembering the bigger overall picture that Man City will be back to the very best at some point. It may take a bit of time, but we have to be patient. And that's very much the message of life at the moment. It's frustrating, of course, but I wanted to add that caveat before I jumped into the 5 things that I learned. And I'm going to start with a lovely talking point. City are firing blanks, lads. We're not scoring goals. And that obviously is a massive concern. I mean, I was just looking at the table, and this is currently during the Arsenal game, so I'm not sure if that will change or not in terms of who's going to score goals and whatever. But I was looking at the table in terms of goals scored, and it shocked me genuinely just how bad we have been. You'd have to go down to 11th, which is currently Arsenal. As I said, the plaguing game at the moment with 9 goals to see someone with less goals than us. After that, there's only 6 teams with less goals than Manchester City scored this season in the Premier League, and they are Arsenal. That could change during the Leeds game. I'm not sure if it did change by the time this video was finished. Arsenal, Wolves, and then Fulham, West Brom, Burnley and Sheffield United. Everyone else has scored either as much as us or more than us. Newcastle have scored the same amount of goals for us, and even they've been having problems in front of goal. Everyone else, Brighton, Leeds, United, Palace, West Ham, Villa, Everton, Southampton, Liverpool, Leicester, Chelsea, Tottenham. Everyone else has scored more goals than us. Brighton, man, have scored 13 and we've scored 10 despite all attacking talent. And yes, there is an element, of course, that we haven't had a striker. I totally agree that's a problem, but still, still with the players that we've got, Kevin De Bruyne, Sterling, Mahrez, Phil Foden, Bernardo Silva, all these kind of players, we should be scoring more goals. It's a genuine concern. It's bad. It's genuinely bad in front of goal. And it is a worry. It's a real worry. I mean, I did wish we'd given Liam Delap maybe more chances or something like that, but at the moment, we are seeing a need for a change. I mean, Guardiola has insinuated that. There are quotes after the game when Guardiola said things need to change because we're not scoring goals, which is good. It's good to see that he's taking this on board. I'm hoping there will be some drastic changes stylistically, because we should be making a lot more chances and scoring a lot more goals. Secondly, onto a guy who I want to talk about a little bit, Bernardo Silva. I mean, where has this guy gone? Genuinely, I love Bernardo. I absolutely love Bernardo, but he's had over a year now, I would say, of being underwhelming. I mean, his game yesterday was genuinely poor. This season so far, 0 goals, 0 assists, 0 through balls, 0 chances created. It's not good. That's in like 6-7 league games, something like that. 6 games, I think it is. It's just not good at all. Now, I know he's had his problems in terms of injuries. He's played an awful lot of football. Some people will turn around and say maybe the whole Benjamin Mendy Twitter thing was the cause of this problems, where he felt hard done by and he's lost it a little bit. But what I do know is that we need Bernardo Silva back, lads. I mean, at one point it was all like, oh, he's playing him on the right, where actually the problem is he needs to be playing through the middle. Now he's playing through the middle. I've seen people say, actually, he needs to be playing on the right. it doesn't matter where he was playing. I'm sorry, that is not the problem here. Bernardo Silva in the 18-19 season played games through the middle and was fantastic, and also played games on the right-hand side of the forward line and was fantastic. He was just a livelier, sharper, more intuitive, more aggressive player. That's not relevant of where he's playing. It's not a positional thing. Something's not right in his head, in my personal opinion. I feel like largely Bernardo is not the Bernardo that we fall in love with, and I don't know what's causing these problems. We forget genuinely just how good Bernardo was. If he was playing in the middle or playing anywhere, he was just fantastic. His touch, his technique, his close control. You got to remember, Bernardo Silva genuinely was up for the Ballon d'Or. Like, we forget he was genuinely voted in the top 10 for the Ballon d'Or that year, winning everything, being fantastic for Portugal in UEFA Nations League as well. Where's he gone? We need to find Bernardo. Or the questions will say basically, is he just a one-season wonder? We don't want that to be the case, of course, but that's a fair question at the moment. Thirdly, we need fresh ideas. I think City keep trying to play the same thing. We keep playing these kind of false eights or the double pivot, and we keep trying to get our wingers to cut in all the time, and the fullbacks don't really get forward that much, and we keep trying the same thing over and over again, and we keep trying to whip crosses in when we can't create any chances. And it feels at the moment we really kind of need to make some fresh ideas, I was chatting to some people on Twitter last night about the midfield problems, and I'll get onto that in a bit, and I probably should have done that point first, but someone did say back to me, look, if we can't make a functional midfield that can score goals and create chances out the likes of Gundogan, Foden, Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne, then that's kind of on Guardiola. And I actually agree. To be honest, even though I think the way that we want to play, which is another talking point in a bit, we haven't got the players, but I do think if it's a case where we haven't got the players and how we want to play, should we not change how we're playing? I do think we need fresh ideas, and I think it's pretty obvious. Why not as well play Foden and Torres more? I'm sorry, we're crying out for some youthful zest, some endeavour, a little bit of energy, a little bit of magic. Play Ferran Torres and Foden often. Maybe just try and lighten things up with Liam Delap off the bench every now and then. Maybe what happened to Cole Palmer? I'm not saying play loads of kids, but maybe just try things that are a little bit different at the moment, because it does feel very, very samey. I will go back to the Marseille match, when we played Zinchenko on the left, and then we played Foden on the left. So we had two lefters on the left, and then we had Sterling on the right, and it felt like we had width. Where has that gone? We saw it for one game and it's disappeared already. Can we not try that again? It was a fresh idea and it kind of worked. Can we not try spreading the pitch again? And hopefully that'll change things for us. Please, just fresh ideas is what we need. Fourthly, and I chose this as fourth because I think 4 is the magic number, unfortunately. I feel like this season it could end up being a race just for the top 4. I know there's a long way to go. I mean, we've played literally 8 games and we're only currently off. We're only 8 points off the top with a game in hand. So it's not loads and loads and loads, and a lot can change in the course of a season. But it does feel like at the moment, it does feel, as a small snapshot of the season, we are going to struggle to put a big winning streak together to challenge for the league. It might happen, but it feels like we've got to get in the top 4 and hope for the summer and hope for January transfer window and hope for the summer mainly. It feels like top 4 is a fair reassessment of our current aims, which sounds very negative. I'm not moaning, by the way. I'm disappointed, of course, but I'm not even trying to be reactionary. I'm just trying to be realistic. And people will turn around and go, you're being overly negative. I understand that. But you know me, if you watch this channel often, I'm just trying to judge it based off this season and all of last season's form too. There's too many big drops after peaks. I mean, we have a good moment where we defend pretty well against Liverpool or something like that, but then we kind of have games like this, and it's like we can't just put 2 good performances back to back, and it's very frustrating because all the optimism of a few of the international break has immediately been disintegrated, unfortunately. So we have to find a way, essentially, just to kind of get through the season potentially. We could go on a winning streak and surprise everyone. We could do. I'm not ruling out with Manchester City, but at the moment it feels like we just have to aim for the top 4 and hope for the best. And finally, I feel like the way that we're playing, if we carry on playing this way, it's just not going to work at all. Great Guardiola sides are built around the midfield. They really are. You think about his sides in general. You think about his great Manchester City side. It was built around a world-class Fernandinho. He could be absolutely everywhere all the time. Smart, intelligent, tenacious, aggressive, a bit snidey as well. He so much pace and energy and stamina. Then it was built around a younger David Silva, but a younger one. The 17-18 in 18-19 seasons who could press and be everywhere, be intelligent, with Kevin De Bruyne doing the same. So you had the false eights. And they were, all three of those players were world class near the top of the game, you know. And Bernardo Silva, of course, was playing if Kevin De Bruyne wasn't there, and he was world class at the top of his game as well during that season. At the moment, Bernardo, by the way, was more like Kevin De Bruyne. So even though Kevin De Bruyne wasn't around for a lot of that season, he was a lot more like that, so it kind of worked. To me, at the moment, it feels like our midfield options just aren't really up to level. For one, I know David Silva wasn't brilliant last season, but one thing David Silva did by his mere presence was guarantee space for other players. David Silva is such a highly rated footballer across world football and so respected that teams would sit on David Silva because they know that he control those half spaces, he control the space between the midfielders and the defenders, and he'd be flowing around in those pockets, getting in the inside channels, feeding the balls through to the wingers and to the strikers. They knew that he'd be so dangerous that they had to sit on David Silva, even if his individual form wasn't always brilliant. It didn't matter. His mere presence and his mere intelligence allowed space for Sterling. It allowed space for Kevin De Bruyne. And now as it is, we don't have anyone who can kind of slow the tempo down or occupy that much fear in the opposition's mind. So what we've got basically is none of that kind of pause and that calm and that metronomic view to football that David Silva brings. Someone like Gundogan tries to do it, but he's just a bit of a B-Tech version. He can't do it. David Silva has something that none of the other players have got. I love Phil Foden, but he's different. He's a different kind of player. Bernardo Silva is a different kind of player. They don't have that same composure. They're more direct and more aggressive in the way that maybe Kevin De Bruyne is. Then, as a result of David Silva not being there, it means everyone just focuses on Kevin De Bruyne. And Kevin De Bruyne has to do everything himself, and defenders know that they can just mark Kevin De Bruyne, but Gundogan or Bernardo or Rodri aren't going to create anything. And even then, Rodri, as good as he was yesterday, I actually thought Rodri was fine. He still isn't Fernandinho. He still can't do that Fernandinho role, and we are expecting him to be Fernandinho. If we weren't expecting Rodri to be Fernandinho and do something separate, fair enough, but my point I'm making here is if we're going to carry on playing in the way that we've always played, and which we're clearly trying to do at times, the midfield isn't good enough. That's the point I'm getting at. Hence, going back to the fresh ideas thing. The way we want to play, we simply do not have players who can do that. We don't have anyone who can do what David Silva could do. Players who kind of can do a bit of it, but not in the same way. And we don't have anyone who could do what Fernandinho could. Players who can do a bit of it, once again, and Gundogan can do a bit, Rodri can do a bit, but not quite in the same way. We're experiencing the Manchester City side trying to adapt to losing two genuinely world-class midfielders, and the midfield, in my personal opinion, simply isn't fit for purpose unless we try something different. Try something different. Go back to the fresh ideas. Play Foden there. Maybe change the formation. Maybe play a 4-4-2 or something like that, you know. Maybe put Foden on the left. Maybe put Rodri alongside Kevin De Bruyne. And maybe put Bernardo kind of on the right as he played for Monaco. Maybe go for two strikers, you know. Maybe do that. Maybe play Sterling off Aguero or Gabriel Jesus or something like that. Change it up a little bit. I don't know. Fresh ideas. Sort the creativity out. Do something different, Guardiola. Anyway, that is 5 things that I took from the game. I'm not going to, throw everything out and throw the baby out with the bathwater, as the saying goes. Sometimes you got to be patient. It's frustrating, but we will get through this. We're Manchester City Football Club, and it's terrible and it's painful, but that's life at the moment, unfortunately. Anyway, guys, that's what I took from it. Let me know in the comments below what you made of the game and all that kind of stuff, and what you make of the points that I raised. Do like, comment, and subscribe. Be good to get to 46,200 pretty soon, because that'd be pretty good, if that makes sense. Anyway, I'm gonna go wind down with the rest of the evening. Nicole's over there. See that? She's playing Spider-Man, bless her. I'm going to go and do that as well after this. For now, I'll see you tomorrow for another video in a bit.